Action.
And action.
Oh wait, why is this all... Oof. Alright, that's fine. Whatever. Alright. Good morning, friends and family.
Or afternoon or evening.
True. But we're gonna say it's not even morning here.
We're just going to make up the environment. Well, welcome back. Episode 2, 3.
2. Well,
Little lawn mowing going on again.
at this point, that's the team. All the lawn mowing. We should maybe interview lawn mowers. Thoughts?
No thoughts on that. I don't want to interview lawnmowers. Interview me. I'm doing the lawnmower.
Imagine though we went up to a lawnmower. They might have good commentary.
Okay, so here we are. This is how our conversations go on the tell-all bench. So, where did we end? We ended last time.
That I said I had feelings about whether you should get close or not.
Yeah, and I said
As far as like in-laws and significant others.
and I was like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
All right, so what?
Well, I have thoughts and feelings because somebody said, for the whole time, she was like, I'm not getting close, I'm not getting close, I'm not getting close. So then I would go home and cry to her son. Just kidding. No, but I would go in close quarters and be like, this girl hates me and I don't know what I did.
How many times did I say that to you? I mean, I know I've made that. I
Clear.
know I have said that. Like, I don't want to get. I saw that. I said I didn't want to get too close, but I don't think
Yes.
like I said it that many times.
Well, I was always like, it's not fair because I did nothing wrong.
All right, so the backdrop on this conversation
Yeah, you go for it.
is, you know, these sons, they bring women into our family.
Yes.
And you want to welcome them, make them comfortable, you know, just be a decent person to them. And then those first girlfriends, you end up, some of them liking them.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other women my age, like, oh yeah, I've been burned by that before. And so I like to kind of learn from others and like, yeah, I did too. Meaning you got to know somebody, you kind of liked them, you liked the energy, and then all of a sudden they were done, and then you're left on the outside going, okay, now what, right?
Yeah. And I feel like I could see if it was like a mutual decision as far as like the breakup goes, where then you could probably still be close with them. Maybe. I mean, I'm speaking from like, it's hard because I only have sisters and my mom doesn't get close to the men in the lives, I feel. Whereas like you only have sons and they bring women in and women bond is different. I don't know. But I feel like if you have a mutual breakup, then potentially you could still be in their lives. But if it's like something was done dirty on either party, then it's like, yeah, no. That's where my brain goes. So that's why I was like, I was like, absolutely not.
So as I'm thinking about that, right, going back to the description of us, women supporting women, differences in generations, some of these topics that we explore is like, is that a personality thing or a generation thing?
Yeah.
That one, I don't know. Again, I think my generation was just more to themselves, private. If it didn't work out, they just kind of went their separate ways, and that be that. Again, there was kind of like a line always there. Like you were part of the family, but you weren't blood.
Yeah.
That blood and water thing was such a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Where I think now there's more blended.
Yeah.
And you do get closer to these people in our lives. And then the big dilemma is when it doesn't work out, am I not supposed to talk to that person? Or like, you brought him into my life, and so as part of bringing him into my life, then I have a a part of my own individuality to maintain contact if I want to, or of course I always want to do cordialness, right?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I feel like it's like if something bad happened versus not. But it also could depend on just like how your son, in this case, would feel about you being close with them. But I don't know.
But if we look at the women helping women, even if it was bad, I don't have to be mean to that other woman.
Well, no. But you also don't need to be close to them.
I don't need to be buddies.
Yeah, after they like destroyed your son's life in some aspect or the other.
We won't go there. Nobody's been destroyed, but
Yeah. Well, what if is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. What if I was actually a crazy person?
well, that's a whole nother episode and a whole nother podcast.
I mean, it's
Wait,
real.
what if? Are you?
You don't know that. But like, what if? Then that's another thing to deal with.
Okay, so,
I clearly
you-
have feelings on this.
and I think, I don't want to dismiss those, but I think
Depends on the situation, probably.
very situational. Well, somehow, whatever, you came through it because we ended up.
Oh yeah. I think that's because I'm resilient.
And there's some improv right there.
I'm just the best, okay? Anyways, next.
All right, so I think we got through that.
But apparently, okay, so with all this, we need feedback. Are you on my side or hers?
Well, we'll wait to hear about that. Or you could be on both sides.
Yes.
It all situational.
We just want the opinions of others.
Okay, the next topic. This one I think is gonna hit the generation.
Yeah. Circumstantial.
Is living together.
Before marriage or just in general?
Well, we're gonna go with before marriage. Because we aren't living together, so not yet.
Dude, sometimes I'm like, let's move in here.
So the living together from the generations. On my side, boy, there was endless conversations when I was your age. No, it was not likable at all to be moving in with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even likable even if you were engaged. But we started to push the boundaries on that. We're like, well, we're committed to each other, and then we would move in together. But my generation, they just started to open up that box of living together.
Yeah. Like barely peeking it open.
Yes. Then there's
And then my generation
what
full
happened
throttle.
with the millennial? I feel like here's an experience for me. Let's see if this applies to your generation. So the millennials, there was this weird thing where, you know how you all have sleepovers in high school?
Mm-hmm.
And I was used to having and dealing with that, going to them when I was in high school and having, right? But when did it be okay to have co-ed sleepovers?
Like with friends or partners?
Disguised underneath the group of friends, but within that group of friends, there was boyfriend, girlfriends going on.
Oh.
Was that a millennial thing? And did your generation do that?
I feel like it was either just you were sleeping over with your boyfriend or you weren't. Like it wasn't like you were distracting people with like other friends.
You did that in high school?
That's what people would do.
Stay over at their boyfriend's house?
Yeah.
Not this generation.
But our thing, like in high school for me, it was always like you just can't sleep in the same bed.
In
Which
high
then
school.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, why even have a sleepover? But I don't know.
Viewers, we would really love to have your
I do think it's absolutely ridiculous looking at it now. Like if I had a child, I'd be like, No. You're not even dating.
I don't get that. Okay, so our topic was about living together, right? Because I totally forgot about that little mind
Yeah.
cloud, probably blocked it out. Like, what the hell? Who allowed that? Why would you allow that?
Yeah.
But if that was going on in the millennials, so then it was very clear that living together was like oh well.
But then I also think now, if you say co-ed living, it would be very like, or sleepovers, it would be like accepted.
Well, and there was a change there in co-ed. Let's move off sleepovers and go to co-ed living.
Yeah.
I think, like when I was in college, it was all girls in an apartment. Every apartment that I was in, it was all girls.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there that changed too, where it was like co-ed living. You could have guys and girls in an apartment, each having their own little space.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, like in one room?
No, in like a
In the whole complex?
yes. Well, like if we have an apartment building, it has 5 bedrooms, right? And
So like, I
each
have 2
bedroom-
bedrooms.
each bedroom had a girl in it. I
Yeah.
had girl roommates.
Yeah.
Now I feel like you could have 2 girl roommates and 2 boy roommates.
Oh yeah.
And that
fair.
co-living like that,
Yeah.
so I feel like that happened at the same time this like sleepover stuff happened. Like all of a sudden, it didn't matter. You could mix and mingle. Whoever is your roommate doesn't matter if they're a boy or a girl.
I feel like my mom would have opinions on that. She'd be like, hell no.
See, so she's my generation,
Yeah.
right? So we grew up with no, it's just all girls.
Yeah.
Okay, so somewhere in between the generations here, that co-ed living came into play, which I think also made it easier for when you're boyfriend, girlfriend, that you moved in together earlier, living together earlier before a bling bling or any engagement or any commitment type things, right?
Yeah.
So we navigated that,
Yeah.
which nope, we wouldn't have done that. We navigated that of moving in, even though your mom and I on the backside were like, so when this doesn't work out,
Right, literally.
who's taking the lease? How are we going to resolve this, right?
Yeah.
And not that we put a jinx on it, but there's lived experience that says, well,
Says it was a jinx and we had to make it through that.
there's lived experience that says let's just be open, wide-eyed about what could happen, and now you're in a lease and yada yada yada. So that
Yeah.
happened, and then so there's that thing back to the topic of close to them or not close to them. All of a sudden I'm like, well, now what?
Yeah.
Are you together? Are you not together? So it all is connected from where I sat. Like how close, how committed, how much energy am I investing in this at this point, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so generational difference there on living together, sleepovers.
So did you have to be engaged?
Yeah, that pretty much helped clear any concerns of parents, which I think might push people getting engaged and married.
I agree, but I don't think that's happening as much anymore because people are now being like, no, we need to live together for like 2 to 3 full years before getting married. Because I feel like you find so much more out about a person. Seeing them literally every single day, every single night, seeing what they do, that's annoying and weird, and you have to fix it or deal with it kind of thing. Like, creating these compromises. Because I feel like if you didn't see that at all, then you're engaged, then you're married, then you're in a legal thing, and then it's like, there's no taking a step back really at that point. Like, you already full throttled it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yet perhaps selective of who you're wanting to live with, right? Because how many living together situations do you need before you right?
Yeah.
It brings up other things. But no, I think there's definite benefits to living together.
Yeah.
Before, like you said, that legal commitment. It doesn't take but what, $50 to get a marriage license, but like
Takes a hell of a lot
thousands
to get out of that thing.
to undo it, right? So I would agree with that. I would, but I don't know how my generation, if they agree with that now, or if they're still on the nope.
I feel like we would definitely need to take a poll, figure it out. Because I feel like some parents, and maybe it depends on how close they are with their kids and like how open they communicate. Because then, like, if we're having an open conversation about it, and then you can see like that perspective versus like you're arguing with the kid about it, like, I don't know. Because I feel like there's still like the parent-child arguments of like, I'm not a child, I can make these decisions, and they just want to be like close-minded.
I think that is a key thing, that there's always the parent-child relationship, but you're an adult now. Those are the starting things of these are your choices, these are the ramifications. But as a parent, you're still trying to protect, like, oh boy, it's a lease, it's locked in, da 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 da, right?
Yeah.
So, interesting.
I see both. I see all sides.
Because you're so resilient and adaptive.
I'm just the best. I have every good quality absolutely possible. Pretty much.
Okay, so we closed that topic.
Yeah.
Generational living together. It definitely changed between the generations.
Yes.
Moms of sons. This is a topic that I wanted to talk about.
Yes. And I have no idea what it means.
Moms of sons. A couple of the people that I have associated with, it really behooves a mom with a son to go below the surface and have a relationship with the girlfriend and become an ally.
Okay, we need to explain this on a more dumb level because I don't understand.
Like, putting energy into you and getting to know you and welcome you is going to serve the whole relationships way better than me having a rub with you.
Yeah.
And putting the son in the compromising spot. Because moms, what you don't realize, and you should, because you were one of them, is that son is almost always going to side with the girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. How many of the, what we just already said, that you left, went home and cried to,
Right?
right? And being a daughter, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to not welcome them into your family. Not like I did that to manipulate that situation. Let's just be clear about that. But but I learned later through talking with people who were surprised at how close we were. They were sharing like, oh, that wasn't their experience with their, mother, quote, in-law or whatever. Like, no, not at all. And there's like this animosity, and I'm just like, oh, wow. So it's a little bit different. Why is it different? I just see it as a win-win. Rather, sometimes I think we could gang up on the son.
Oh, for sure. If he's being ridiculous, then yeah. Duh.
So there's my topic of...
Okay, so then I have things to say.
Yeah.
Then that motherfucking cicada. Is that what
we
that
love
is?
them in 2024. Yeah.
Not really.
As long as they don't fly in our hair, we're all good.
No, it freaks me out. Anyways, so then is that like you recommending that even if you really didn't like the bringer inner of the family, are you still supposed to like pretend to like them just for your son or daughter's sake?
Not pretend, not manipulate, not pretend, but you're gonna have to put a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
some of those relationships like you have in the whole world, some are easy, some are strained. If you don't get ahead and address any strains with direct conversations or feedback, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of headache.
I agree.
So that directness.
Because I feel like I hear just so much from people, like, oh, you're so lucky that you like your, like, family-in-law. What the?
There's a little white bug.
I don't like it. It looks fluffy. Anyways, but I feel like I hear so much that they're like, you're so lucky you have a good relationship with his family. Like, all the time. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you don't have anything in common? But then I can see where it's like, the person is really dealing with some demons. Where it's like, they did you real dirty. Then I can see it. But otherwise, I'm like, you gotta find some level of, like, in commonness, I feel like it's not like that hard.
And I don't think that's an age thing. Meaning,
No.
you if at this age remarried, much older, twice as old as what you are with a remarriage, you still have that mother-in-law, and to try and find something, women on women supporting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Less of that judgment, more of that, hey, join in type of a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. I hear the same thing. Like,
Yeah. Like, I guess if I was, like, down bad and bringing your son down bad, then I could see where you're, like, really struggling. But I don't know. There's just so much hate out there between these relationships that I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like we're close enough to where you can tell me, like, I'm wrong in situations, and maybe I'm a little heated at first, but then I, like, get over it. But then there's some people that can't even have, like, a how are you conversation.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I hope what I always try to bring is not a you're wrong, but let's look at this perspective.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just making it in simpler terms. My brain's a little small sometimes.
But you play the big brain on the Nintendo Switch.
No, seriously. We should play that and see who's better now.
Okay, so that's what I kind of meant about the ally versus an enemy. I think some women just right away put up a little bit of that enemy. Enemy. Like
Isn't
you have
an
to.
enema a butt thing?
Yep. That it's a thing of some people make you have to earn your way in to
Fair.
things, and I just don't think that is right, fair, or even nice.
Well, now I have more to say because I'm like, I feel like you can never, like, walk into somebody's life and immediately start on a bad note. Unless you come in and you're like, you're ugly. Oh my God. Unless you come in and you're like, you're ugly, I hate you.
Well, I've heard of situations like that where
Oh God.
it's pretty direct, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think that's a woman thing. I don't think that's a generation thing. I think that's a whole nother.
I think that's you need to figure your shit out.
A whole different podcast.
No, seriously, like that's just some issues.
Which is self-awareness and how do you like people? Do you like people?
True.
Okay.
We breathed at the same time.
We breathed at this.
We both went, ah. Just kidding.
So the tell-all bench. So now we're up to the thing of you lived together, didn't go so well. How did we navigate that? You two still kind of stayed together, and we were able to stay superficial. There was no sides taking, staying neutral. And then you got a puppy dog, and I had the puppy dog, and ended up watching yours for a little while, a couple days.
Yeah.
Which I put my foot down there, which brings me to the topic. Calling me J-Ma.
I forgot about that. Hey, it's you came up with that.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Because I said, well, you didn't like grandma.
Yeah, I did. I didn't like grandma. I didn't like
So
grandma.
you said, what about J-Mon? I was like, all right, we're going to J-Mon's.
Yeah, all of a sudden I became one of them. I was like, oh, I'm a puppy grandma.
I just call my parents grandma and grandpa.
And then I'm a J-Ma.
Yep.
So we're going to perhaps have to change that if there's ever any real kids.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some thinking. You got like 6 years probably.
That, not going to lie, that was weird. I don't know how many of you in the generation are grandmas already. I'm not, probably not ready to be a
You
grandma.
definitely could be though.
Oh, I definitely could be, but I don't know that I'm ready for that. So the puppies were my first exposure into the grandpuppy world, and that's when we really started to, because we had to get the dogs to the dog park, get the exercise,
Yeah.
and that was year round, out to the dog park, and the conversations, because it's a big dog park.
Like
Topics
a
would
few
come up.
hours worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think the average person at the dog park goes for 2 hours.
No, everybody looks at me like I'm crazy when I say that. They're like, you don't just like sit there? And I'm like, no, what?
We walked, and then we would sit there and got to the tell-all bench and the watering bench.
Yes.
And through that, the conversations would happen. It was just you and I and the puppy dogs. So we kind of had to get to know each other and discuss topics and days, and that's what opened up a whole bunch of topics and emotions, right?
Yeah.
And growth. So, I have no idea where we're at with time on topics.
I know.
I'm blabbering.
Should I check?
Yeah, check.
That means standing up, and oh wow, I have water all over me. 26 minutes.
Yeah, come on back. We got to close this up.
And cut.
And scene as our improv thingies. So, our questions are to them are, your first question wanting feedback on is, do you get close to them or not?
Yeah.
My question is, hey, how are we all feeling between the generations about living together? How many of you think Gen X side of, yeah, don't live together yet? But I don't want to say that. I think,
it's anyone.
yeah, anybody weigh in, like, is living together a good thing nowadays? Or should, I don't even want that question.
Never mind, don't answer that.
No questions
please.
there. We're just going to say, do you get close to them or not?
Yeah. And maybe we'll why or why not. We can like that's a double question.
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah. We'll go there, and let us know if you have any thoughts on that.
And what do we talk about next week?
Comfort within the house when you came over.
And why that started and how you knew.
Ooh, mystery. Until then, what's the jingle?
If you don't go, you won't know.
There we go, and that's a scene.
I think I said it wrong.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Wait, turn your mics off. Oops.